you've ever seen a pile of gunpowder burn, it flares up and it's bright and creates a lot of light and smoke, and it doesn't damage things. It's not an explosion. So the speed of the reaction and the output of heat and things like that is slow. If you have an explosion of any kind, that explosion happens very fast, meaning compressed gunpowder that is then ignited explodes very rapidly, and it creates seemingly potential extensive damage. In our world, we have processes that unfold slowly and gradually, and we can adapt to them. We can acclimate to them. We can accommodate them. We can stay out of the way of them. We can allow for them without attachment, without aversion, without judgment, without feeling, without grief, without pain, without suffering. And that said, there are many situations such as 9/11 that happen very rapidly, very rapid change. So we'd suggest that rapid change all by itself can be traumatizing. It can affect results that cannot be acclimated to. Metaphorically, people couldn't get out of a building fast enough to avoid being killed by the collapse of the building. We're making sense with this process. If we look at this as a fractal for our global situation in regard to climate change, there are people who will be able to get out of the way of certain climate effects: hurricanes, floods, fires, drought, heat waves, overpopulation, lack of food, destruction to arable land. And there are people who will not. There are people who will be, in essence, stuck experiencing rapid unfoldments of climate change symptomology or effects. Ergo, trauma. Trauma management in the midst of global transformation is tremendously important. If we know that a flood is going to happen, we can evacuate people from that area. And if we know with enough time and enough forethought and enough planning, we can migrate those people in a healthy way into another populated or unpopulated area and give them an infrastructure and a support system so that they can live, thrive, survive, find joy and happiness and fulfillment, not be traumatized, not suffer, not die, certainly, not be injured or damaged. The grace with which we understand these various transformational fractal dynamics globally and map them, document them, support them, honor all of the participants in them, as well as the animals and insects and the actual planet itself. If we can love all of that and care for all of that, find compassion for all of that, equal to our own, love thy neighbor as thyself. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. If we can find that within ourselves globally and as nations and tribes, we can mitigate these potentially explosive or rapidly unfolding traumatic events, dynamics, and effects in the world, and thus have less rework, less downline retroactive healing that's required to help people who are in such challenging, who've experienced such challenging dynamics, be able to just function and have lives and be able to be the good, kind people that they want to be. This is an opportunity. This is a moment of potential understanding, education, insight, and forethought, and pre-planning, and pre-application of resources well ahead of these unfolding symptomologic change curves of climate change in our world. This is a moment of grace that we are being offered as individuals and collectives, nations, and as a species. It is a brief window of grace. It is still a window of grace. If we respond to it reverently enough and recognize it, that this is a blessing that we're being offered, the calm before the storm, the still point in the hurricane, so to speak, before the eye wall comes back around. If we can accept that that is true in absolute, comprehensive, resolute terms, then we can find it within ourselves to approach it with willful, conscious, discerning focus and intention that is sustained and that is designed in its very essence to bear good fruit for all peoples in the future, all nations, all cultures, all religions, all political systems, all belief systems, all genders. We have this moment available to us. It is beyond precious. It is beyond important. If we can find it within ourselves to bring that infused moment of understanding into everything that we do from this point on as a species and as individuals, and hold that moment of understanding and insight and possibility, and always move from it, always make choices from that point, single pointed focus, insight. There is nothing we cannot do together. There is no dynamic of collaboration that does not become possible. There is no limitation on how beautiful, elegant, excellent, full of grace, full of joy and possibility the future can be for us and for the natural world. Us as a species and nations, and for the natural world. It's a choice. It's an incredibly empowering choice. And many people make choices. Oh, I'm going to go on a diet, or I'm going to quit smoking, or I'm going to quit drinking, or I'm going to make my life more green or more sustainable. Those are all beautiful, excellent, wonderful choices. There are ways to make choices that are absolute, that are comprehensive, that cover every fractal dimension and dynamic of human life process. We're doing our best in this moment to communicate that process so that it's offered, so that it's recorded right now, it's scripted, it's designed, it's defined, it's communicated, it's educated, it's given with examples, it's modelable, it's practicable, it's something anyone can live from. And through living from that, they can catalytically change the future of the entire arc of trajectory of the evolution of the human species, and thus every species on this planet. What could be more empowering than that? What could be more necessary than being able to do that? What could be more fulfilling, more joy producing, more possibility producing for every being in the world than making such a choice? They don't know they have the capacity to make that choice yet, because that information has not been made available to them yet in as well organized and defined and communicated and succinct a form as perhaps this communication. This brings to the fore the absolute empowerment of comprehensive self-accountability for one's empowered application of one's soul energies and soul intentions in the world. And for a lot of people, from an egoic vantage point, that's a scary proposition. That's a scary transformation or change. It seems like a lot. It seems like it's worrisome. And I would suggest, I would ask anybody, and I'm open to being wrong or inaccurate or incomplete in my understandings, is there a better way than that? Is there a more comprehensive solution to all the problems and challenges and dysfunctions and conflicts and misunderstandings than approaching the world and life and choices from this communicated vantage point? And if there is, and of course, this can be refined and refined and refined and evolved and made better and better and better. It's just a starting point. It's a breadcrumb on the path. How many people will benefit from understanding this?